Are you worried and scared that your children's Halloween candy will be poisoned or tampered with this year? Poisoned candy myths and urban legends about mysterious neighbors intentionally tampering with, poisoning Halloween candy is virtually on everyone's mind. However, the truth is that only about 200 confirmed cases have been tracked since 1958 in the USA and Canada. In this video, I will share why you are spooked about candy tampering and what you should really be scared of this Halloween and every other day of the year.
You should be scared of me.
How the 1982 Tylenol poisonings nearly canceled Halloween candy. The resulting paranoia about trick-or-treating was evident when Tylenol poisonings struck the nation in late September of 1982. People were worried about getting poisoned, and the poisonings also spurred fears of product tampering in the U.S. markets. The first victim was Mary Kellerman. It was a Wednesday, September the 29th of 1982. It was a typical school day, but for the 12-year-old girl, she woke up with a runny nose and a headache. Her parents told her to take a couple of Tylenol and get some rest. Her dad found her on the bathroom floor unconscious, and several hours later, she was pronounced dead at the hospital from unknown causes. A few hours later, a postal worker, Adam Janus, also had taken a sick day from work. After he swallowed 2 extra-strength Tylenol, he collapsed and could not be resuscitated. The paramedics ruled his death a massive heart attack. The sad news is that Adam's younger brother and sister-in-law rushed to the house to console Adam's grieving wife. They both, being overcome with pain and disbelief, asked for some Tylenol, and they both died quickly. In the next couple of days, a total of 7 people would die. The Tylenol poisonings shook the nation, and the shocking case made Tylenol the top story in every major newspaper in the United States. The Tylenol poisonings first occurred in the Chicago, Illinois area, but they later spread to other parts of the country. As the Tylenol case continued to gain attention, the federal government created a special task force to investigate. The authorities would find out later that cyanide-laced capsules caused the Chicago Tylenol murders. The Tylenol recall cost Johnson & Johnson millions of dollars, but the company prioritized the safety of its consumers over profits, something unheard of today. The company issued warnings across the country and set up a hotline for people to call with questions. The company's switchboards lit up with media calls. Some came from Honolulu, some came from Ireland, while more came from hospitals, poison control centers, and pharmacies. In addition, hundreds of consumers called to seek clarifications, and many of them made false reports. The Tylenol deaths caused unprecedented fear and panic about trick-or-treating that year. As a result, many businesses were forced to close, and almost everyone wanted to cancel Halloween. In addition, the poisonings led to the largest consumer product recall in American history. 31 million bottles of extra-strength Tylenol were pulled from store shelves, and some of these bottles were later found to contain potassium cyanide-laced pills. In 1982, Tylenol held over 35% of the over-the-counter pain relief market. After the crisis, Tylenol's market share dropped to 8%. When the Tylenol poisoning scandal broke out, many people were worried about the dangers of trick-or-treating. Many parents feared that Halloween candy could contain chemicals, razor blades, or pens. Many people were scared of copycat cases as well. And several copycat crimes did occur, with people experimenting with substances from rat poison to hydrochloric acid. These experiments led many people to become ill, and 4 more people died. Another tragic case involved a father who slipped poison into his son's Halloween candy, which killed him. The father hoped to collect an insurance payout by blaming a sinister, scary stranger. The resulting trial led to the father's conviction and a death sentence for the poisoning. The Tylenol poisonings prompted Tylenol to institute tamper-proof packaging. This new safety precaution led to a reduction in product tampering. However, there were still a few instances of tampering still happening. While the actual Tylenol poisonings were relatively isolated incidents, the news coverage prompted many people to fear for their health. While the deaths were rare, the Tylenol poisonings heightened fears about poison Halloween candy. Even though the deaths and injuries where one time many people transferred their fears about tainted over-the-counter medications to Halloween candy. This fear has persisted for decades. There has never been a single person arrested or charged with the crimes. The sole suspect in the Tylenol poisonings was a disgruntled employee of Tylenol's factory line, and he was convicted of writing an extortion letter to Johnson & Johnson saying that if they paid him $1 million, he could stop the killings. But no direct evidence could be found linking him to any of the crimes. After spending 12 years in jail, he claims his innocence now and says he thinks about the victims daily. In 2010, James Lewis was promoting his new novel, ironically called Poison. He describes the book as a chilling thriller. The Tylenol poisonings in Chicago almost canceled Halloween candy, and repercussions have continued to this very day. In addition to the deaths, the Tylenol poisonings resulted in a reform of over-the-counter medications and anti-tampering laws. Do any of you remember Halloween in 1982? Tell us your story in the comments. So, if you're younger and wonder why your parents are always so worried about your Halloween candy being tampered with or poisoned, the Tylenol poisonings are the most likely culprit. And as traditions are passed down from family to family, it is most likely that you will also tell your kids the same scary stories. But now you'll know the truth and the reason why you feel that way. With all this sweet talk about candy and Halloween, let me tell you about something dear to me, my teeth. If you're having teeth problems, gum trouble, or constantly have lousy breath, go down into the description and find the link so that you can get your healthy mouth and teeth back to their prime. Don't ever neglect your teeth, friends.